Hi, Jen. My name is Sam. It's nice to meet you.
Hi, Sam. Nice to meet you.
How was your commute? Did you find the office okay?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. So, in today's session, I just want to get a general sense of why you're here, and hopefully by the end I can give you some techniques to work on before our next session. Does that sound okay for today? Okay. Just some housekeeping stuff to get out of the way. First of all, our session is being recorded, and that is only because I want to give you my full attention. I don't want to be staring at my piece of paper writing down notes. And just in case I forget anything, nobody is going to see these recordings. I do also have to let you know that I am an MSW student, which means that I may have to talk to my supervisor about what we speak about today. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay. The only other reason that I may have to share anything is because I'm a mandated reporter. So if you talk about any intent of harming yourself or others, or if you speak of any experienced or witnessed abuse, I do have to share that with the authorities. Does that make sense? Is that fair? Okay. And let's talk about, have you ever been to therapy before?
No, I have not.
Okay. What made you want to try it now?
Pretty much it's affecting my at-home life and work life.
What is affecting you?
My anxiety, sorry.
Anxiety? Okay.
Yeah.
What kind of anxiety are you feeling? Is it certain situations? Is it just general?
Say a little bit of both. I guess more, I don't know, social.
I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Sorry.
Do you mind speaking up?
Sorry.
That's okay.
I would say, I guess, both.
Both?
Yeah.
Okay. And you said it's affecting your home life and your job performance?
Yes.
So let's talk about job first. What do you do for work?
I'm a manager at a vinyl record store.
Okay. Do you like your job?
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me about what about your job is giving you this anxiety?
Well, I have to deal with customers a lot on the phone, and at the shop, but mainly on the phone. When I'm talking to customers, I feel they can't hear me, and I start to get my words jumbled up and everything, and it just gets frustrating. I can't say what I need to say to the customer, and I just kind of shut down, and I feel like it just doesn't, nothing comes out.
Nothing comes out
Yeah.
maybe the way you want it to?
Yeah.
Okay, so it kind of sounds a little bit more with social anxiety when you have to speak, like talk to strangers. Does that sound accurate?
Yeah, because I would say, I mean, at home I can talk with my wife and kids very well. I don't have any anxiety about that. Close friends, I guess I would say also. Just kind of nervous talking to you, but
Which is completely understandable. You know, we're just meeting.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll get to that comfort level. So it sounds like people who you're very close with, who you're comfortable with, maybe interact with very frequently.
Yes.
You're fine with your anxiety. Okay. So tell me about how you feel inside when you said you have to like talk to customers on the phone or at the shop. Well, like what's going on inside?
It's overwhelming feeling.
Just overwhelmed?
Yeah. I don't know. Just kind of shut down.
I'm so sorry I have to ask you.
Sorry.
Do you mind speaking up?
I just shut down, and it's just overall frustrating.
What's frustrating for you?
Not being able to say what I want.
Okay. I can understand. I can completely understand that can be frustrating. You know, you have the thoughts in your head. You just can't make it come out the right way.
Yeah, or I can't. It doesn't come out the right way, or it just jumbles.
It just doesn't come out at all, maybe.
Yeah, nothing sometimes, and it's just like a shock, I guess.
Okay. So you said it's affecting your job performance. Are your supervisors getting involved? Is your job at stake?
Yes, that's kind of part of the reason I came is because it more affects my work than at home, that I feel. So I've lost jobs from having too much bearing on me, and I don't want to. I don't want to do that with this job because I like this job. So my supervisor pretty much have been coming up to me, asking me what's going on, and I just kind of do the same thing, shut down. Can't really tell them what's going on, so that's kind of why I came in to figure it out.
Okay, completely understandable. I'm very proud of you. You've never been to therapy before. I'm very proud and happy that you're here. Just from the get-go, this is going to be a process. Nothing. You're not going to see any changes or improvements overnight. Are you willing to go through the process? It sounds like you are.
Yeah.
Okay. So you said you've lost jobs in the past due to your anxiety, like to perform socially too much, maybe?
Yes, yeah, I would say. Just I'm shy. It's just like a shyness, and it's I don't know. It's just it gets there, yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm glad that you like this job enough to come here and work through some of these issues you're having. How long have you had this anxiety for?
I would say since I was a teenager.
Okay, so a long time. Is there any specific event or something maybe that was going on in your life that maybe triggered this anxiety? Or
I'm honestly not sure. I always thought I was normal. I should be normal, right? I don't know. And
so not really able to pinpoint maybe what triggered it?
No, not really.
Okay, that's okay.
Yeah.
Has your anxiety changed? Maybe does it come out in different situations? Or my question is, has it changed over the course of when it began? Like, has it gotten worse? Has it gotten any better? Does it kind of go up and down?
I'd say up and down, but I feel like it's escalated a little bit, and that's why I'm here.
Okay. And then you also mentioned that it affects your home life. So can you speak a little more to that?
Well, not necessarily. I don't know, because I don't really ask my wife if it does affect her, because she pretty much does all the social events, like having to go to teacher conferences, stuff like that, dealing with any calls, bills, going to the bank, stuff like that. I feel to where it's pretty much she's living both of our lives, and it shouldn't be that way. It should be my life and her life. She shouldn't have to be worried about what with me, and it stems from this. Like it's just yeah.
Okay. How does that make you feel when you said you feel like your wife is living both of your lives?
Because I can't be my own person, because of not being able to communicate or I guess speak. I don't know.
Okay. Is that let's attach an emotion to it. Does it make you sad that your wife has to do these things and that you can't? Does it make you angry? Does it make you
No, I'd say frustrating.
Frustrated?
Yeah, more than anything, it'd be. It's very frustrating.
Okay. I can feel it. I can feel it from you. And I'm sorry that you're feeling all this frustration, but again, I'm glad that you're here. I'm glad that we can work through it together.
I don't know, I'm not crazy, right?
Okay, let's nix the word crazy right out of the gate. Nobody is crazy. So about these should statements and the must statements, we are our biggest critic. right? So, you know, we say, I should be this, or I should be doing that, or like you said, I must be crazy. So that is an example of a cognitive distortion. And I know that those words kind of make it sound bad. That does not mean that there's anything wrong with you. It just means that it is something that is negatively impacting you and is harming you or your self-esteem. So what I want you to do is be cognizant, be aware of when you say, I should be doing this, or I must be whatever. Just be aware when you say those statements, and maybe think like, okay, let's change the script a little bit. Like, you know, give yourself some relief, give yourself a break. Does that sound like something you can do? Okay. So have you ever tried any coping mechanisms or any techniques that have helped with your anxiety in the past? Nothing. Okay. And you said you've never been to therapy. Have you ever talked with someone about your anxiety, even like just a friend or your wife or maybe a sibling or a parent?
No, not really, no.
No? So you've kind of kept it to yourself? Okay. So I want to talk about some different techniques that I'd like you to try before our next session.
Sure.
One of them is journaling. I know the classic journaling, but it'll help you put into words what you're feeling, and it also might, even just help you like kind of be more specific about what you're feeling and maybe why you're feeling it, and that'll also help recognize what specific situations cause you more anxiety. So when your anxiety is peaking, if you can take the time to write down exactly how you're feeling physically, mentally, emotionally, and that, like I said, can kind of help your anxiety and put into words what you're feeling. Does that make sense? Okay. Another technique I have is just relaxation breathing. So there are many apps, videos out there that can guide you through some breathing exercises. You can do that even when you're not even feeling any anxiety, if you're at home and you're comfortable. Or even better, when your anxiety is peaking. Pull out your phone, pull up an app, and just take 2 minutes to go through a guided breathing exercise. Just kind of help calm you down, center your focus. Does that sound okay? Mm-hmm. Okay. Another one is progressive group muscle relaxation. So when you're sitting down or laying down, just start from your head and go all the way down to your toes and just focus on one muscle group at a time and just imagine it relaxing. So, and that'll, again, one group at a time. So take the time to go all the way down your body, and you can also do your breathing exercises while you do that. Okay, so again, just like calming yourself, centering your focus, okay? And the last one is play the script until the end. So when you are feeling anxiety about a certain performance or task that you have to do, I want you to envision the worst possible thing that could happen. I know, it doesn't sound great, right? But just think about the worst thing that could happen in that scenario. And hopefully that will make you realize that even when the worst thing happens, everything will still be okay. So it's almost like a preparation. Like, just in case this happens, I know that it'll still be okay. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Do any of those techniques sound okay that you might be willing to try?
Yeah. Yes. The breathing one, the writing, I'm not so good at.
Okay.
So I don't know about the journaling. Sorry, what was the other one?
The play the script until the end, where you envision the worst possible scenario.
Okay.
And
I
then
might have to practice on that one.
That's okay. And then what about the group muscle progressive relaxation?
That's with the breathing, right?
So they're two separate. You can do them separately, but you can also do them together.
Oh, okay. Then yes.
Okay. Which actually leads me to a question. Do you feel more anxiety when you are anticipating a task that's coming up, or when you suddenly have to perform like spur of the moment?
More anticipation.
I'm sorry?
Anticipation.
Anticipation. Okay. And do you feel any physical symptoms when you have that anxiety and that anticipation?
It just feels like a shutdown.
Maybe shut
Like,
down?
yeah.
Okay. Well, you mentioned when your supervisors went to have a meeting with you. What did you say? I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah. So, honestly, I don't do meetings well at all.
No.
And quite recently, it's very ashamed to say, but I've been going and hiding in the closet. And I guess that's also been noticed from my supervisors. So.
Understood. I can understand, I think we all can relate to the feeling of wanting to hide from what we're afraid of, right? Does that sound accurate about your actions? Do you feel better when you go to hide in the closet, or?
No, I feel ashamed.
You feel ashamed? Okay. What about after you perform a task? For example, if you have to have a meeting, or if you just got off the phone with a customer, do you feel that anxiety kind of go away, melt away, or are you still like very heightened, or maybe sometimes both?
A little bit of both, I would say. I would say a release. I mean.
A release?
Yeah.
Okay, so that kind of like tension building up, like almost like climbing up the mountain, you reach the peak.
Yeah, and there's just like a wave, kind of, yeah.
Okay. Okay. So another thing I want to talk to you about to do before our next session, I have 3 assessments that I'm going to give you to complete at home. Okay, so they're self-assessments. Nobody's going to be sitting there judging you or anything like that. Okay. One of them is the overall anxiety severity impairment scale. Another one is the Beck anxiety inventory, and the last one is the Leibowitz social anxiety scale. So they are all focused on anxiety. So they might seem repetitive, but they are different scales. They're going to measure your level and severity of your anxiety, and hopefully that will help you, again, like just kind of putting into words how you're feeling, be able to communicate it better, not verbally, but more, on paper, and also give me a better picture of how you're feeling. Does that sound like something you'd be willing to do? Okay. So I'll give you those. You can complete them at home until our next session, and then you can work on some of those techniques, but maybe not the journaling, right? Do you have any questions for me? I know we've done a lot of talking. Do you have any questions?
No. Well, can you put down also what you were saying there was YouTube channels and stuff like that?
Oh yes, absolutely. I will compile a list of certain apps, and they'll be free too. I'm not going to make you pay to breathe. I'll write down a few apps that you can try and choose from, and I can also write down some of the breathing exercises like on YouTube that I really like that maybe you'd be willing to try.
Okay.
I can absolutely give that to you.
Okay.
Okay. So let's do a quick recap. We talked about privacy and confidentiality. You understand that there are certain things I do have to share, but otherwise everything here is between us. We talked about what brought you here, and we talked about what situations your anxiety is brought up in. We also spoke about the severity and how you feel physically, and what you do when you are feeling your anxiety, such as going to hide in the closet at work. We've talked about the techniques that you're going to try, and the assessments. Was that all we talked about? Was that a general? I'm not missing anything?
Okay.
Perfect. Sounds good. All right. Try those techniques, complete those self-assessments, and I will see you next week.
All right.
Thank you so much for seeing me today.
Thank you.
All right.